Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to a video review for Star Trek Discovery, Season 1, Spoiler Edition. So, links in the description down below for the spoiler-free review of Season 1. But this is my spoiler review, and really it's going to spoil a couple things in Season 2 as well. And just, yeah, up through Season 4. So, welcome. I'm going to try and stay away from the huge spoilers, but I'm not going to, you get the idea, like, whatever. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. Space Whale! The Space Whale had a pretty important part to play, so that's fun. And then the little spider guy that he had, and the tardigrade. I didn't talk about the tardigrade because I feel like that is more fun to experience by yourself and be like, oh shit, that's a tardigrade thing. So I did think that it was a little odd that he shrunk down to like without all his water, but then when they teleported him or transported him out into space, he like, okay, but didn't you shrink because of no water? How are you getting bigger without the water? Whatever. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, first things first, bring back Lorca. I loved Lorca's character so much, and I loved being able to rewatch Season 1 knowing that he's from the Mirror Universe. So being able to rewatch Season 1 after knowing all that and just seeing it from like the opposite perspective of like now that you know that he is the Mirror Universe Lorca, how does that change everything with what he's been doing and your interpretation, like what it really means? So fantastic. I do highly recommend that once you know that about Lorca, rewatch the first season. I know there's some rough stuff in Season 1, but Lorca, in my opinion, makes it worth it. I also feel like they could still bring him back for the 5th season. I know that they won't because they haven't mentioned like the Mycelium Network or anything else in like, you know, seasons worth, because they just want to like pretend that never happened type of thing. But he was absorbed into the mycelial network, in my opinion. So much like how the doctor guy was able to get brought back in a way in Season 2, I feel like they could do that with Lorca sometime in Season 5. I don't know what they would do with him, but I'd just be glad to have him back. So I also like with the Georgiou that they had. I like that they had her as like super awesome mentor person and amazing, and then just the like badass doesn't give a fuck, like I'm gonna eat kelpiids Empress chick that they had for the later part of the season. I just thought that, you know, I think she won an Oscar. Not when they're good anymore, but despite their best efforts, every once in a while the Academy still gets something right. And yeah, so she is an absolutely amazing actress, and I love seeing her like play the same character but from a mirror universe and back. So that was fun. I also don't even mind Michael's name anymore. Like, I didn't even think about it until Tilly was like, oh, that's kind of a boy's name. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing, just because I was over it. But I remember when I first watched it, I'm like, why? Why do you have to, like, give her, like, that's just a distracting name. But I don't care anymore. So, also, CGI of Saru's run through the Resonator Forest or whatever, that CGI was rough. Oh, it was rough. But in general, Doug Jones's portrayal and like how he does his walk and how he's able to walk in those like front-facing stilt things and just like he's able to emote with all that stuff over his face and hands and everything else. And that dude is like decently older and still fit as fuck. Like he is still that skinny. Like I don't know how he is able to maintain that while still being healthy enough to be alive as old as he is. Because a lot of times when people are that skinny, it's like because of something unhealthy going on. But he's still around, so good on him for whatever his diet and exercise regime is. Like, write a book, my friend. Tell us your secrets. Wilson Cruz is my favorite character, I think, from the first season because I just love his attitude and how and the love that he has for Stamets and all that jazz. Like those two were just adorable together, so that was fun. I didn't ever really think that Sonequa Martin Green's character, so never really thought that Tyler and Michael Burnham really had good on-screen chemistry. I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was intentional because of, you know, they needed to get like moving at the end of the season or whatever else, but like I never really thought that they had good on-screen chemistry. So I'm glad that they kind of dropped him. Now having it where like he tried to kill her to stop her from teaming up with the Klingons, and now she can't do anything with him. Like, bro, he had like a mental break, like he was essentially taken over from another person, and now that's gone. But you're still gonna hold that against him? Like, I don't know. It's like if they'd like been in bed when he tried to kill her. I feel like that might have been traumatizing enough to make her not want to have anything to do with him anymore. But they were on a mission, and he just like disobeyed her order. Like, I mean, get over it. That's just my opinion. But whatever. This show is very different from Star Trek's, I think. It's and maybe it's not, because in this first season of a lot of the shows, they focus on like just a couple characters, but you do find out more about the other ones. But in this one, this is the Michael, Saru, Lorca, Tilly, and Stamets show. Like, everyone else is super duper secondary. And then, yeah, you get Tyler in there a little bit, and yeah, you get Wilson Cruz's character in there a little bit, but the whole rest of the bridge crew people, like the chick with the like metal thing on her side, and the like android thing that disappeared, and a Wushikun, like all those guys, just nobody gives a fuck about them. No, they are background characters at best, even though they're like the main bridge crew. So I thought that was an interesting direction to go with Star Trek. At the time, I didn't super care for it, but I didn't hate it. I just was like, all right, sure. And I get that for the narrative that they were going for, you had to. Like, there were certain characters that you had to focus on, because this is just one continuous story over the 15 episodes. So, yeah, I get it, and I'm okay with it, especially because we do get to see a little bit more of them in later seasons. I do think that they did go a little bit too wild on the design for the bridge crew without explaining it. Like, the robot chick and the dude with, like, the massive metal thing around his head, like the Bespin guys from Star Wars. I feel like that they wanted to really show that things are different, but they didn't explain it adequately enough, and I don't think they ever did. So it just was kind of very bold and in your face, but in a way that was not explained. So I'm not a fan of just like that, because I feel like it's distracting, and then also it makes me wonder, okay, so why didn't we see any of that in the original series type of thing? But they don't ever make that connection. Like, they don't do the Star Trek Enterprise thing of eventually like explaining that, as far as I can tell. So. But I do appreciate that they wanted to to be different, like that they wanted to change things up a bit more. I just think that they went a little bit too wild on that, but that's fine. When I first watched this season, I didn't like that there was Captain Georgiou, Captain Lorca, Captain Saru, Captain Michael for, the 5 seconds she was in command or whatever. Like, there's 5 captains and only like 2 ships. So I was just like, that's too many captains, because I like that you have Captain Picard, Captain Kirk, like you have one captain in all of the, like, per show in each of the other ones. Like, yeah, there might have been a couple of like guest stars or like maybe a recurring character or whatever, but like there is one captain in the other shows. And this one had like 4. Too many captains. But rewatching it, I'm okay with that. I think it was an interesting way to approach the things. Like, it makes it hard to have just like the one captain on the like banner of captains per show, but I still think that they did a good job of it and making it interesting. And I think that it does I think it does present an interesting dynamic, and it does make it different different enough from the 90s Star Trek without being overly different. It's just different. And rewatching it now, I appreciate it for what it is, and I think that it does provide that interesting dynamic. So, yeah. I was a little annoyed that they threw Lorca in the torture chamber, at his own behest, but still, that they threw Lorca in the torture chamber. And then, like, the next episode, I think, we have the opener of, like, oh, I've been doing this for, it seems like weeks. I don't know if it was maybe just days or hours or whatever else, but, like, from how she was bitching about it, it seems like it was weeks. Oh, I'm having to hold up this facade of being a badass mirror universe chick for weeks now, and this is so difficult, and I'm losing myself, and I'm having sex with Tyler, and it's great, but I'm still like losing myself afterwards, and like, how do I really feel? That's fine, except for Lorca still being tortured. Lorca is just in a torture chamber while you're bitching about like, oh, it's so difficult to not be an asshole to people while I'm having sex with Tyler. Oh, it's so difficult. Like, fuck you, he's in a torture chamber and you have given him nothing to suppress the pain at this point. So, yeah, no. Just no. I don't want to hear any of your bitching while he's in a fucking torture chamber that's designed to make it so you can't pass out. Fuck you. But, again, expositional dialogue can lead to bad things. And then lastly, I just want to say that I hate the opening music in this. It is not at all memorable. You can't hum it. It doesn't give you any feels. The visuals are decent, but the music is just fucking terrible, and I hate it. There's like every other Star Trek opening song, like I will recognize immediately, like, oh yeah, oh, give me the nostalgia, the feels and whatnot. Like let me just listen to that, and like I get a feeling from it, and I get no feelings from the Discovery opening music. It's garbage. So yeah, that's what we're gonna end on. Is it has terrible music, but overall, I still think the show is worth a watch, especially because in season 2, and I'm not going to spoil anything like beyond the first episode for that, but like season 2, they introduced Pike, and Pike is fantastic enough that he got his own show, and his own show is the best of the new Star Treks. Although Star Trek Lower Decks is also amazing, and I think you'll appreciate Star Trek Lower Decks even more if you watch this show and Strange New Worlds. So you should. But just understand that they fix a lot of things over time that they mess up in season 1. Much like how in season 1 of Enterprise, they had like fucking Tasha Yar. Or sorry, Star Trek Next Generation. But yeah, so they got rid of Tasha Yar, and they fixed a bunch of things after the first season, much like they fixed a bunch of things after this first season. But yeah, it takes a little while, but it's worth it. Check out the shows. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.